ओडिशा आसिछंती विशिष्ट सांबादिक पी साईनाथ आपण जानिथिबे एकदा तांकु पद्म पुरस्कार दिया जायतिला किंतु ताहाकु से प्रत्याख्यान करथिले तार गोटे कारण रहिछि आज से आम पाखे उपस्थित अछंती आमे तांकठु जो रूरल रिपोर्टिंग से करूथिले हिंदी रे बहुत समय धरिथिले से कथा तो जानिबा ता सहित सांबादिकता किभଳି अछि को दिगरे जिबा उछि से नै मध्ये जानिबा सर वेलकम टू ओडिशा सर यू हैव कम टू ओडिशा इट इज नाइस दैट वी आर मीटिंग यू sir actually main first question is you have reported for 3 decades on rural reporting in various leading newspapers like Hindu like that and you have a very famous book everyone loves a good drought but I had learned from various sources that type of reporting was not accepted by the management at that time and the time has changed. Do you think this type of reporting will work in this era?
I'm saying that we don't have a choice. If we don't do this kind of reporting, we are doomed. That is one. But second, I will also say times have changed for the worse, but also some interesting developments are there. Today, I believe the cutting edge of Hindi journalism, for instance, is coming from young YouTubers, independent journalists working. Some of these are journalists who worked in mainstream media, disillusioned like you, and then gave up and went to YouTube. Now, people like you, people who are setting up their own YouTube channel, I think that this is going to pose the establishment journalism the biggest challenge.
Sir, when you left the job, you started Pari. So, what is the aim of that portal?
Pari is the People's Archive of Rural India. See, we are not a news organization. And I have not been a hard news journalist for 40 years. You know, I was a hard news journalist when I worked in a news agency, UNI, in 1980. I was a news journalist when I worked in the Daily and the Blitz Weekly. But after that, I have practiced what I call, or what many people call, slow journalism, archival journalism, journalism that is investigative, but is not investigating governmental, departmental corruption. We are investigating the human condition. That is what. So it's a journalism that is a public good. We are creating Pari. It is a journalism site, not a news site. It's a journalism site which is putting together a national treasure 25 years from now. Anybody, researcher, historian, student, reader, audience, wants to know how ordinary rural Indians lived, ate, worked, sang, drank, danced, they will have to look at Pari. Because there is no one else doing this on an all India scale, nationally, where we are not talking about news developments. We are talking about the everyday lives of everyday people. Now, we covered POSCO. We covered the POSCO struggle. But we did not cover the everyday event, arrest, Lati charge. We went to the people affected and recorded their stories. Yeah, we recorded Purna Das, who wrote that song, famous song, Arare Neelajo POSCO.
Sir, naturally, people are asking in this era that you are doing a very good thing. You are supporting the people's life of rural India, but at the same time, the viewers are not accepting those contents. What should be the solution?
We don't think so. We think that viewers are more than accepting the content. I am telling you one thing. The Pari is the only journalism website. We are the only journalism website in the world every day publishing in 15 languages, including Odia. Including Odia, we are publishing in 15 languages. So, see an organization like BBC, might have output published in 40 languages. But the languages are not equal. Okay, what they publish in BBC Hindi, what they put out, That's not 5% of BBC English. Our rule, Pari's rule is English is a default language but not a primacy language. It has no primacy. There is no supremacy to English. If a piece appears in one language, it must appear in all 15. So there is parity between these languages. Now there will be a lot of unevenness because language that joined this year, it cannot have all, the translation is a huge, we have a professional group doing the translation in Odisha. But Odisha came in our 7th year or 6th year. So there will be a backlog that will have to be taken care over time because we have published 2,000 articles, 558 videos, we have published hundreds of songs, that's why it's an archival thing. Pari is a project that can never be completed. Now, people are coming to us and say, what about our language? For me, one of the most important things is to cover endangered languages. And Odisha has large number of endangered languages.
Odisha, in every state you are seeing, in most of the states, not every state, they are not accepting the death of farmers. What is the reason? You have repeated too much about it.
See, I'll tell you, the truth is that Odisha is not the worst affected. In that, it is not the worst affected are the original Green Revolution states. The original Green Revolution states are the worst affected. Maharashtra, Gujarat, Punjab, these countries are the worst affected. But I am asking you, please don't see agrarian crisis only in terms of farmer suicides. For every farmer who takes his life, there are 1,000 who have not taken their lives but who are in equally miserable condition. Right? So that you should remember. And then you should remember allied occupations of farming. See, I don't look at farming in terms of output only. I don't look at farming in terms of destruction means so many deaths of farmers. That's not correct. What is happening to livelihoods? Yeah. How many millions of migrants are there from Odisha whose lives have been destroyed because of the collapse of agriculture?
Sir, so many thought leaders like Thomas Piketty, all are saying within last 200 years, the inequality is evading, it is decreasing. But what is your perception about to abolish this inequality?
No, Thomas Piketty says it is increasing in India. He says it's increasing in India. And it is now in their World Inequality Lab report, they have said, inequality in India today is greater than it was in the British Empire time. In 1921, one period of the British Empire, it is higher than it was at that time. Number two, they are saying 90% of the wealth. See, in 1991, when we started the new economic policies, India did not have even $1 billionaire. Today, India has $211 billionaires. Their cumulative worth is more than $1 trillion. Okay? And the World Inequality Lab report tells us more than 90% of that 1 trillion, more than 90% of the Indian billionaire wealth is held by upper castes. So inequality is growing in all aspects.
Sir, one last question from you. The budding journalist will definitely want to know from you that you have not rejected Padma award for some reason and you have rejected the prize money from Andhra government. But you have taken so many awards from International Maxis Award, other awards you have received. But what is the reason why you rejected those government awards?
Because it becomes very uncomfortable and unconvincing and, in my mind, morally wrong if you take an award from the government whom you are writing about. I am not covering government of Philippines I'm covering government of India, government of Odisha, government of Tamil Nadu, government of in Delhi, the central government. I'm not covering, I'm covering them every day. Then they come and give me a prize. What will my readers think? You should set, then it will become part of the system where journalists are doing favors to government and governments are doing favors to people. Will look at it that way even if it's not true. So what is happening is also that if tomorrow, the case of Andhra, I was the journalist who broke the story of agrarian crisis in Andhra. I wrote about all of that. It is also true that I wrote stories which were positive about YSR Rajshekhar Reddy's activity, because YS Rajshekhar Reddy accepted my demand and set up an agrarian distress commission headed by the Professor Jayati Ghosh, and they acted on it. So then I praised them. But his son wanting to give me a prize makes me very uncomfortable. People will say, you wrote this and you... I reserve my right to criticize every government.
So you are telling journalists should not accept any award from the government?
From the government that they cover.
तो आपण शुणुले जो विशिष्ट सांबादिक पी साइनाथ तांकर दृष्टिभंगी जहाँ जे सरकार विरुद्ध में आम सांबादिक मैंने प्रतिदिन लिखुवर कौन सरकार ठू पुरस्कार ग्रहण करने उचित नुहे। भुवनेश्वर कैमरा पर्सन किशन लक्ष्मीनारायण कानूनगो ओडिशा रिपोर्टर।